Mitch D'Antone here. Let's discuss how to properly wire up a receptacle. Not a whole lot to it. Let's go step one. We're going to check to make sure our power is turned off. This is a 12-2 Romex going into our single gang plastic box. We see there's no power. We can get started. We'll strip out this jacket. Best way to strip out this jacket is to stay in the center, stay in the middle of the jacket. That's where our bare ground is. That way we're not cutting our neutral or our hot. We don't want to come on the side and skin it. You just have to barely touch it as well. You can come just straight down the middle. Like that. Pull all this extra stuff off of there. We don't need it. Alright. Now that we got that off, let's go over how this receptacle is wired. You see we have a bronze screw here, we have a silver screw here, and we have a green screw here. The green screw is the bare ground. That's where that goes. The silver screw is for our neutral or our white conductor. And our bronze screw is for our hot conductor, our black. And we do them in that order. We go from ground, neutral, hot. If we were going to disassemble this thing, we would take off our hot, our neutral, and then our ground. That's the safest practice. Always put the ground on first. Always take the ground off last when disconnecting. So let's get started. I'll strip these wires out. We'll start with the ground. We'll take the strippers, a little hole in the strippers, and make a loop. Now, the most important thing about doing these loops on these receptacles is when we put the loop on, we go the same direction that we would tighten that screw. We would tighten it clockwise, so the loop would face clockwise. Let's say we had it the opposite way. We put that on. If we start tightening that screw with the loop facing the opposite way, it's going to slowly open up that loop, make a bad connection. So we want to have our loop facing the same way that we turn the screw. And then as you tighten that screw, you'll see that wire also tightening up under it. See, nice and tight, good connection. We'll move on to this neutral here. Doesn't matter which silver screw you put it on. If you were going to wire more than one receptacle, that's the reason why you'd have two. You tie your power into one side, and the next side would be your outgoing to your next receptacle down the line. We're just going to do one. Now last is going to be our hot going to the bronze screw. Make sure your connection's good and tight. You may have seen on some receptacles, most receptacles, you'll see these little holes in the back. People call them back stabs. I don't recommend you wiring that way by pushing them in the back. They are quicker to do. It makes it easier, but it's a poor connection. I've seen it a lot of times. They'll burn up in this receptacle because that connection will eventually get loose in there. Or you'll lose the connection and then your whole circuit's out, and it could take a long time trying to figure out which one came loose. So this is the best way to wire it. Make your loops, put it around the hole, put it around the screw terminals, tighten them down this way. That's the best bet. So we'll close this box up. And there we have it. Let's take a quick run through on everything we just did. We have our 12-2 incoming power. We took our bare ground and tied it to the green screw, our ground on the receptacle. We took our white neutral and tied it to our silver screw on the receptacle, and took our black hot and put it on the bronze screw. So that's all there really is to it. If this is like a new installation you're doing at your shed or something like that, remember there's a couple of things to pay attention to. The NEC states on 300.14 at least 6 inches of wire need to be able to come free out of this box. You can't have a small amount of wire and try to hook this up. Also on 334.30 says the wire that's coming in has to be secured, like I have the staple here, within 12 inches. So you can't have free floating wire just coming into these plastic gang boxes. So you need at least 12 inches. Within 12 inches, you need to have that wire secured. So that's it. Make sure whenever you're doing this that you're always turning your power off first. A lot of people say it's just 120 volts. It takes a half an amp to disrupt the rhythm of your heart and kill you. So it's not just 120 volts. It is dangerous. So always make sure the power's turned off first. Double check, triple check. There's no fast reason to do it any faster. So keep it safe. Keep it moving. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all next time.